So there is a brand new World Heavyweight Champion in WWE, my friends. So you know what we do. We put our heads together, we become nerds, and we try and figure out who's next. So I actually think this is going to end in sadness. In a couple of months, we're going to look back and be like, why, Jey Uso? Why did you lose this championship? Because here is, if I was going to rank my expectation list, this would be the number one thing I expect to happen. But at the same time, we all know when I predict stuff, I kind of go a little bit crazy because I just think it's more fun, because wrestling is the most important of the least important things. But I would imagine that Sami Zayn is going to win the King of the Ring tournament. How you get Cody out of there, I do not know. That's going to be super duper interesting. And I think at SummerSlam, it is going to be Sami Zayn versus Gunther. And I think the way we get Cody out there is probably going to be something with John Cena. I think there'll be, not necessarily your two main events, but you'll get Sami Zayn versus Gunther at SummerSlam one day, and you will get John Cena versus Cody Rhodes on the other day. And Sami Zayn is going to beat Gunther for that World Championship. I know you're going like, Simon, what are you talking about? Gunther only just won that title. I've told you time and time again, if the story is there and you can take advantage of it, you should take advantage of it. Like when we felt there was too many hot potatoing of the titles, we were all desperate for long reigns, and then under Triple H, we got a bunch of long reigns. It doesn't mean all of a sudden you want to go swing back the other way. You want to find a healthy balance, but we've only had a couple so far, and Jey Uso is the most prominent of those. But if it does sort of lead to the dominoes falling and it leads to a trigger point that once again you can jump on, I think you should do it. And I think sometimes it's worse to go, well, we must do this because we haven't done it for a while. I think it always makes more sense when the story can be tied in. It's why I was surprised that so many people were shocked that Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. I was like, not that I'm some kind of wrestling savant, I was like, isn't that obvious? Like, that'd be the most understandable person to get the briefcase at the moment, because he's stomping around going, control, I'm in control, I've got to do all this kind of stuff. But anyway, the point is that I don't think it affects Gunther. You can come up with all manner of ways to get him out of it. And at first I was like, I think that Sami Zayn will win it, as I just said. I'm kind of updating myself as we go, like some sort of old operating system. And then Seth Rollins comes out afterwards, he cashes his money in that briefcase, and he takes that bet away from Sami, because that's going to stab us in the heart even more. But if Triple H is desperately like, we have to protect the ring general, we have to protect Gunther, you can go the other way and you can repeat everything we did at WrestleMania 31. Seth Rollins comes out after they've kicked each other half to death. He cashes it in, it becomes a triple threat match, and he can pin whoever the flub you want. He could pin Sami Zayn, and that's where you get your tragedy as well. And maybe that's actually better, because Sami Zayn is then still not a world champion, right? He can't put that on his CV, he can't put that on his resume, and then we'll probably get to WrestleMania 42, it'll be Sami versus Seth Rollins, and that's when Sami will finally do it. I've updated in real time. I think that is way better, but it's still sad. And again, Gunther can then be like, excuse me, why the hell did you steal my championship? And maybe that's kind of the feud we do for the remaining of 2025, because I think we've seen from all companies, when you can kind of ping pong a bunch of major stars that do want to win a championship, it not only helps the stars that you have, but it helps the titles too. So in that scenario, I am telling you that Seth Rollins is going to be the next guy after Gunther to be the world champion, when he uses his Money in the Bank to essentially stab stab Sami Zayn right in the face, but also Gunther. And it kind of ties into what some people speculated. I am still iffy on this. You're going to have to come to my house and buy me a coffee and really convince me that maybe the reason Gunther defeated Jey Uso clean is because Gunther's about to go on a babyface turn. And that would actually serve two masters then as well. You screw Sami Zayn, we get the title on Seth Rollins, and Gunther can be like, I didn't really want you to do that, so now I'm going to be a hero of the day. It all depends how you want to portray that. It worries me because I think Gunther is such a good heel. Like, he's wonderful as it is. And I don't really feel it in my tootsie toes that it's time to change that up. But I could be wrong. Maybe we'll get to, like, I don't know, November, and be like, thank goodness we did do that. Because what it will do, especially if you're a Raw superstar, is it will shine the spotlight on Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins as bad dudes that everybody is trying to go after. So, yes, I think that Seth Rollins would be my number one pick. But, of course, we have more people here as well, because you could throw Sami Zayn in there and do what I just said. He is technically the next person to take it off, but then Seth Rollins takes it off him. But now that we've kind of sat down and chatted about it like the adults we are, I think the first version is better. And then it does kind of establish this two-night SummerSlam as hot WrestleMania, which is what WWE wants to do. I'm really worried about it now on the down low. Before I was like, okay, I get it. It's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, PLE. But there's been so many major shows over the last few months. I think that could be overkill for some people. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm talking out of my rectum and all of those things, but I did have that thought in my head. So who else could potentially be within the realms to beat Gunther? I think CM Punk has to be an option. Now, that's hard to work him in because, of course, he's about to fight John Cena at Night of Champions. Do we really think that CM Punk is going to win there? I don't know. But I don't know how you get out of it. Like, I can't see CM Punk being cleaned pin. That was a weird way to phrase that. I don't think John Cena's going to lose his championship because I do think it's going to go to Cody Rhodes. Does Cody Rhodes get involved somehow because John Cena screws him out of the King of the Ring and he accidentally screws Punk, and then we planted those seeds? Because coming out of SummerSlam, we're going to need something for Cody. You could potentially do one more match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, but again, WWE just throwing so many shows out there, that's only going to take a few weeks. You're certainly not going to extend it until December when John Cena leaves, which would mean he'll go back babyface. And then you could do Punk versus Cody, because Punk is like, oh, I can't believe you did that. It also would require Punk switching brands. Is WWE even going to do that? Is the draft even a thing? I much prefer it when people just go here, then everywhere to serve the narrative we're trying to tell. But do you hold that off until WrestleMania 42? I think you probably do. I think that's probably a big match. I can't imagine anybody else that Cody is going to have his big fight with at WrestleMania 42 other than a CM Punk. And of course, John Cena will be gone there. So it's massively interesting. And that's why I find Punk such an outlier with all of this, and why I was surprised by the Night of Champions match for many reasons, as the internet has been discussing. I don't know who it serves, and I don't know where they go after this. It feels like we're doing it because SummerSlam is going to be the end of John Cena's heel run, and WWE wanted to run it back with CM Punk as the babyface and John Cena as the heel, just because it's utterly nuts, which it is. If you had told someone that back in 2013, they wouldn't have believed you, and they would have punched you right in the face. So at least it's interesting, and at least it's intriguing, and once again, I have no idea what the finish of that match is going to be. I mean, distraction, interference, and confusion, of course, but I just think if Cody Rhodes is not going to be featured, well, he should be featured there, because you've got to build to SummerSlam. So if we come out of that, though, you could give it to CM Punk, is my point, because even if there was some shenanigans there with Cody and CM Punk, and then Cody Rhodes spins back off with John Cena, Punk has to do something at SummerSlam. What's Punk going to do at SummerSlam? I guess you could do Punk versus Seth Rollins again, and Seth Rollins wouldn't be the champion, and he could actually lose Seth Rollins if he's going to cash in later, much like he did at WrestleMania 31 with Randy Orton. He pulled double duty, but could he go after the World Championship too? It's a bit lame, because it'd be a bit like, well, I wasn't able to win the WWE title, so now I'm going after the other one. But I find it funny that he wouldn't at least be interested in that, because of course, he talked to Jey Uso a few weeks ago, you know, if I win Money in the Bank, Sami Zayn, I should say, I'm going to go after the World Championship. So I don't know. I wouldn't even put him at number 2. I'll tell you my number. Well, no, we're doing like this, right? So my number 1 is Seth Rollins, right? We put that there. I believe he will be the next person to take the belt off Gunther. Number 2 would be Sami Zayn, the craziness at SummerSlam, where he's actually won, and then Seth Rollins comes out and starts another singles match. I'm going to put Punk at number 4 just because I cannot figure out how he does figure in. Even though he's such a big star, I think you always have to say his name, which means the other dude I was seeking at number 3, there's got to be R-Truth. Now, that's Ron Killings, I should say. Now, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because I think coming out of Night of Champions, the person he has to go after is John Cena. But R-Truth, I've got to stop doing that stupid brain, Ron Killings is not going to be the guy to take the belt off him. I'm convinced that it's going to be Cody, right? It's going to be Cody. It's going to be Cody. It should be Cody. And like I say, for the remainder of 2025, just let John Cena do the more traditional retirement tour. It's going to be brilliant. He's one of the best of all time. We don't have to worry about it. But I just feel like with the momentum that Ron Killings has, and if it continues to go well, and if all of a sudden the serious one, the way I'm looking at it is my head, is he can be our murder grandpa, right? If you don't know who murder grandpa is, essentially Minoru Suzuki from New Japan. I don't know how old he is, but I'm pretty sure he's older than 53. Nobody doesn't buy him as a threat because of the way that he presents himself. I'm pretty sure Ron Killings is aware of this. He's a student of the game. So I would try and take those elements in and present that to Truth. I don't see why he can't have, and it wouldn't be very long. It'd probably be super short, but we get the moment. I know we kind of talked about on Monday, but I'm shifting gears here. I'm not sure Gunther would be the guy to lose to Truth Killings. Actually, he is Ron the Truth Killings, so that does count. But I still think he has to be a contender. I really don't know what he's going to do. That's probably going to be the ending of CM Punk versus John Cena. Could it be that we do Truth versus Punk at SummerSlam? I'm just saying things now. But as I realized in 2025, when you do say things, sometimes it happens. You're like, oh, that just came out of my mouth. I can't believe it. But I just think he's going to be factored in here. Who else is he feud with? If John Cena is preoccupied with CM Punk for the next few weeks, which he is, what does Truth do? I honestly don't know. He did a video on TikTok or Instagram, whatever it was, with his brand new haircut. He does look pretty badass, so that was an absolutely inspired decision. Somebody said he should go heel, which would be the worst idea ever. That's like a Vince McMahon idea. Like, everybody cheered for him to come back, so now we're going to make him a bad guy. Why? We're clearly behind him. Like when Bryan Danielson was a heel within 12 months of him coming back from a career-ending injury. Now, don't get me wrong, the People's Planet's champion, whatever the flub he was called, with a hemp belt, was absolutely wonderful, but we never should have got got there, but we booked Daniel Bryan into the ground as we always did, which is absolutely redonkulous. But I've just got to that point now where I think if the momentum can be continued, truth has to be in that conversation. Although for the life of me, I'm glad I'm not booking this shib because I wouldn't be able to figure it out creatively. But when I came up with my list, I was like, I think he's got to be in there. He really, really does. And in slot number 5 is Jey Uso. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but once again, I think sometimes you have to serve the show, you have to serve the product, you have to serve where the glaring holes are. We need some tag teams on Raw. Jimmy Uso is not doing much on SmackDown. In fact, I think it's kind of nuts how little we do with him. I know he's embroiled with a Bloodline 2.0, but he feels more like, what's the word I'm looking for? A secondary character to kind of give you some exposition and to get you from one show to the next than shine a spotlight on him. And people do love Jimmy Uso. He gets big pops too. And I don't think, to me, as long as it's booked in the right way, it's reductionist for all of a sudden Jey Uso to get back with his brother tag team, as long as you sell it the right way. It's why when we did the Usos in Scotland during the European tour, that was dumb and it happened too fast. Like, why would you give that away? If you held off now and you started planting the seeds, which I'm sure WWE will do anyway, it will be bigger. I do think Jey Uso will probably get some kind of a rematch. It could be at Night of Champions, I suppose. It will be at Night of Champions because Gunther doesn't have anything to do. So I would guess that he will finish off that program there. And I really would put the Usos back together because, one, the Usos versus the New Day in this brand new version of WWE. If you tell that story and you get into their history and let them speak about that time they were put on pre-shows all the time in like 2016, 17, whenever it was, which was totally ludicrous, I think you'd finally be able to give both of those guys some real meat on the bone. At the moment, especially the New Day, don't get to do anything, which I find absolutely perplexing. And we need new teams. And I truly think the Usos are one of the best teams of all time. There's probably some recency bias there or some personal bias because I've grown up with the Usos, basically. But I love them, and I think they're great, and I think they'd be so over with the fans. You could turn the tag team scene into something and almost use this brand new star power Jey has to get that going again, especially if there's nowhere else for him to go. So I could put him at number 5 on the slot, right, which means I think Truth is going to be the champion before Jey Uso. But I think probably on Raw in a few days' time, we will be like, oh man, one last time in Saudi Arabia. And then Gunther is going to win. You're not going to take that belt off him that quickly because then you are hot potatoing a little bit. And also, what else do you do with Jey Uso? I think once we've let the dust settle and all that, Jey Uso deserves way more credit than he's getting at the moment. He went in as somewhat of not a lame champion because that has way too much negative connotations, but he was someone that felt like he could be beaten. And I think there is a skill to that. I think there is a jeopardy to that. And it made his matches way more fun and way more interesting to the point he lost on Raw. Like, would a Roman Reigns have lost on Raw? No. Would a Cody Rhodes lost on Raw? No. And sometimes you should do that. I think it worked perfectly. Someone messaged me going, I can't believe you thought that Raw was better than AEW Double or Nothing. So what the flub are you talking about? He's like, well, I added up the numbers. You gave a better number ratio to that than you did the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. One, you cannot use maths on ups and downs. Make sure you check them out. Go subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. Because if Raw has 24 segments and Double or Nothing has 8 segments, Raw will win because there's more chances to win. I've always told you this. Also, I don't watch shows that way. I'm never going to watch shows that way. You're allowed to do it. In my opinion, it's a waste of your life. I sit down on a Monday or a Thursday or a Saturday, whatever the flub it was, Fridays, or a pay-per-view day, and I just take it in. Maybe I'm having a good day, maybe I'm having a bad day, maybe I'm happy, maybe I'm sad. I let my emotions at the time respond to what I'm seeing on the television screen because that is what I would do if I was a fan. In no world do I go, well, this is how I felt last week. Let me compare. It's a crap way to watch wrestling, and it will just get you down into a horrible world of statistics and, well, this show only pulled that many people and numbers. That's fun to talk about. Of course it is. But that's not what wrestling is all about. Wrestling's about having you feel stuff, which is why I'd have our Truth Wrong Killings win the World Championship. It all ties around. And after that, I'm not sure there's many people. Like, Drew McIntyre's gone away for a while. He's a SmackDown guy. I don't think he's going to come back anytime soon. And there's no one really bubbling on the surface. If Oba Femi or son jumped out to the main roster, I'd be like, give it to that guy. But I think the main event scene is kind of set on Raw now, and these are the people that you want to shuffle in there, with R-Truth being the outlier. If you really do want to give him something big to do, and strike while the iron is hot, and if you do want to do that, you do have to do it soon. But no, my money is absolutely on Seth Rollins. I don't think it's going to be a long Money in the Bank reign. I think Triple H already wanted to get it done, but because he did that with Drew McIntyre last year, now he's just being a bit patient because he understands the fans will go absolutely nuts. WWE doesn't need any more of that recently because they have had enough. I mean, there's other guys as well, but like AJ Styles is not talking about the world title. Like people like Penta are nowhere near it. Finn Balor, no way, man. He can't even win tag team matches, which is ridiculous. I think there are some people that are going to come through eventually that will rise the ranks. But when you're talking about the people that are sort of circumventing or circling that title, I think we've mentioned most of them, and they're the guys. Like Bron Breakker will be the world champion one day, but not yet. And Bronson Reed, I mean, potentially could have a run depending what you want to do, but I can't see that any time soon, nor should they be. That group should be together forever. But I think everything we're doing it now is pivoting towards Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 42, and Sami Zayn winning the World Championship, which is going to bring tears to my seeing devices, have water coming out of my seeing devices, I should say, because that's just such a crazy world to be in. In many ways, it's very Jey Uso. You just never thought it was going to happen. And that's another reason I think the Jey Uso title reign is going to be so important. Anytime someone like Sami, who sort of years and years ago was just treated terribly and lost, you're going to be on tenterhooks all the time, terrified, like, oh my gosh, he's going to lose. And it's also another reason I think WWE needs to consciously back off on the distraction, interference, and confusion. Because Seth Rollins needs to go on the worst title reign ever intentionally, where he just wins because of Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed, to the point we get really mad, and then it is Sami Zayn who finally gets his revenge. But yes, so I'm going with Seth Rollins at number 2, Sami Zayn at number 3, Ron Killings at number 4, and Jey Uso at number 5. Could Jey Uso have another title run? Maybe. But I don't actually think it matters. I think the best thing about the Jey Uso run was that it proved you if you do get hot and you do get over and the fans get behind you, we'll give you a Royal Rumble win, we'll give you a WrestleMania moment, and the rest we'll figure out as we go. Not saying we'll have a long-term story, but it may be more of a mid-term story, and that's fine. Again, I'm not going to go through all of the people we dropped the ball on, but Rusev Day, I'll throw out there. We don't know what the ceiling of that could have been. So many people go, oh, it was a joke. Lots of things are jokes. You could say that Yeet was a joke. You don't know unless you try, and it's my favorite thing about new WWE is that we want to be, well, it's this guy, and it has to be this guy. Like, apparently the match was meant to be Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and we didn't. We moved into a different direction, which would make sense, because then you do Roman Reigns versus Punk, but he got put in that instead. I'll leave it there. Of course, please do let me know who you think's going to win. You can do silly options, but I want to see your workings, right? It's like a maths quiz. You can come up with someone dumb and put it all together. No matter how crazy it is, as long as it makes sense, you go nuts. Otherwise, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is me going through that crazy episode of Raw, which I hope you've seen by now, because it is nuts. Otherwise, you go to patreon.com/Simon316. Come and join our watch-alongs. It looks like we are going to be doing Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 38. I kind of just put that one in there for fun, but everybody wanted it. You vote for it, so hell yeah. Grillamine.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off his ships worldwide. I got my pre-workout yesterday and some of my energy drinks, which I took before this episode, by the way, or this show. I needed a boost. They're the best. And you'll be like, Simon, of course you can say that, but I also believe it. So what can I do? Simon316 on social media. Simon Miller for cameo videos. Do a Father's Day one for you if you want. Simon J. Miller on TikTok and Pro Wrestling Tees, a big cartel. It's all down there. If you can click and subscribe and like and do all those things, I'd massively appreciate it. Keep enjoying wrestling because it is the best. This bald idiot will see you soon.